This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Granger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Granger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, October 1st. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Toronto Blue Jays advance to the World Series for the first time since 1993 with a 4-3 come-from-behind victory over the Seattle Mariners last night in game number 7. A Monday Night Football doubleheader wrapped up week 7 in the NFL, and it continued to be a chalky week as both favorites covered the spread. And Jack Eichel, the gift that keeps on giving. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mac, let's start with the football doubleheader from last night, where both favorites cover. The Lions with a 24-9 win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Seahawks a 27-19 win over the Houston Texans. And how about that Texans touchdown with just about 2 minutes left in the game? The garbage time score that sends the game over the total, much to the chagrin of yours truly, who did have the under 41.5 last night.
The 12th man is back, I guess. I mean, big home win for Seattle, who's now 2-2 at home, below 500 still, with McDonald as their coach. I thought the line was suspicious. I thought the Seahawks were the better team. They were at home. They got it done. This is par for the course.
Yeah, and it's not like they did much offensively either. Sam Darnold, 17 of 31 passing, 213 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception, but both both Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet were effective on the ground. 69 yards for Walker, 49 for Charbonnet. Charbonnet scored 2 touchdowns. The defense did its job. And, I mean, the Texans' defense did its job as well. You want to talk about a game that really was a stone-cold under game. Yeah. I mean, we had turnovers that led to touchdowns, including a defensive touchdown for Will Anderson Jr. for the Houston Texans. So, I mean, that game had under written all over it last night.
It's not a round ball. We're going to talk about the round ball coming up and how we can accurately predict that, but it's tough in the NFL. You got everything right. If you would have told me the Texans will have a 3.7 yards per play, are they going to go over their team total? I would have guessed not.
Yep. For Jackson Smith-Njigba, he had a monster night. 8 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. What a nice weapon he is for Sam Darnold. And for the Texans, C.J. Stroud, 23 of 49 passing, 229, a touchdown, and an interception. And they had no running game whatsoever. The other Monday night game, Mackenzie, goes to the Detroit Lions as Dan Campbell continues to just rock after a loss. We gave out the numbers on yesterday's program. They were 12 and since the 2022 season, Lions were 12-4 straight up in ATS after a loss. At home, 9-2 straight up in ATS after a loss. Well, add another one to the win column, 24-9 in a game where it was crazy because in the first half they went into the locker room up 14-3. And I swear, watching that game but not paying attention to the scoreboard, you would have thought it was 24-3.
Right.
Like it felt so one-sided, and then to only watch the halftime report and it's like, hey, Bucks are down just 14-3, and if they score, it's going to be, a one-possession game, and you're like, wait, what? Isn't this a blowout? And that's exactly what happened. The Bucks scored, in the third quarter, and all of a sudden it's 14-9, and again you're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. This isn't a one-score game, but it really was. And then the Lions pulled away.
The Lions won by 2 touchdowns. They won the yardage by 120 yards. They won the yards per play by 2. They had 2 more first downs. But I don't think the stats actually showed you how much they dominated this game. They had the opening touchdown. They were going to make it back-to-back. 4th down conversion in the end zone doesn't go their way. Then they're going to make it 3 scores in the first half, miss a field goal. Just dominant performance. This could have been 30-0, and it would have been essentially the same feeling of game. I'm looking right now at the NFC South odds, which are not back up at DraftKings. But I'm interested in the Falcons now. The Buccaneers with Baker
Really?
Mayfield have won 5 games, except for my 49ers, where they beat them handily. 4 of them by a last-second comeback in the fourth quarter. Some of them, like, they were unlucky they should have blown out the Jets, for example. They should have won that game, 8 times out of 10. But still, they needed some fourth-quarter heroics, including against the Falcons in Week 1. Here are their 2 losses. They lost 31-25 against the Eagles. They get blown out in the first half. Eagles play their best first half of the season. They end up making it close late, but not really. Baker Mayfield has an 18 QBR, to be exact. He has an 18 QBR in that game. Every other game, he's been 70, 80, MVP stuff. This game, he's asked to throw 50 times, and he ends up with a QBR of 24, and he gets sacked 4 times. If he can't be the alpha and omega, and he's going to have to do it without Mike Evans for the rest of the season, I think this team's very vulnerable. I think even though his MVP odds obviously dropped with the loss, now 7-1, I think this actually shows how valuable he is. Either he's pulling out miracles for this team, or they're kind of average.
Well, right now up on FanDuel, the Bucs are a minus 290 favorite to win the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons plus 390 as the next team to win the division.
I guess we got to worry about the Panthers a little bit. They're 4-3.
Well, I guess if Andy Dalton is all of a sudden going to be, what if Andy Dalton is great next game and it's a quarterback controversy all of a sudden?
Wait, I've been studying the NBA. Bryce Young is out. What happened to Bryce Young?
Bryce Young is questionable with an injury this week, and it looks like it's going to be could be Andy Dalton starting for the Carolina. Or he is officially out. So yeah, he's a high ankle sprain, and he is he's not going to play. It's going to be Andy Dalton.
Dalton has come in as a replacement a couple times. In every split you want to look at, his numbers are better than Bryce Young with the same team.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, we talk about the division and the Bucs, they have, the schedule is very easy, right? Like they have so many wins just on this schedule. We know the Saints are trash. I don't trust the Panthers. The Falcons are very week to week.
Yeah. They seem to be a home versus road team.
Yeah.
Kinda.
The question is, can the Bucs sustain the injuries that they've been going through and navigate through the rest of this schedule? You mentioned Evans. He's done for the year. Ibuka came back last night and was all right. Eventually, Chris Godwin's going to come back, and, it's just so he'll replace Evans, right? So eventually you'll have that aspect. Bucky Irving didn't play the last 2 games, so he'll be back eventually. And then now you look at the schedule, and it's Saints, it's Patriots, who are good, Bills, who are good, Rams, Cardinals, Saints again, and then Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. Like, this is still a team that's going to,
Yeah, they probably win the
likely
be
win
worth
this
a flyer.
division. Yeah.
But it's mostly due to the schedule. I do not think this team, as we were talking about a couple weeks ago, is a Super Bowl contender. I think they're going to go up against a team like the Lions or the Eagles, and they're going to get blown out in the playoffs.
So our same game parlay had no chance last night. We did cash with the Lions covering the spread. That was nice. But Baker only 1 touchdown pass, so that wasn't going to come home. We were looking for the anti-correlation there. Sean Tucker only got 1 carry. But then again, it was Baker threw 52 times, whatever it was, 50 times.
And only 1 touchdown. He did not get that second touchdown.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And then in the second game last night, the under obviously didn't come through because of the Texans scoring the late touchdown. We did go with C.J. Stroud over his passing yards, and we did eclipse that. So we went over the 227.5. And then Cooper Kupp with 3.5 receptions. He only had 1 reception for 32 yards.
Can we count a pass attempt as a half a – I mean, someone caught it. It was an interception.
It didn't touch the ground, Mackenzie. It didn't touch the ground. It was an interception for Cooper Kupp.
And I did this work for pregame a couple of years ago. There's a strong correlation between more turnovers and more points. What does that mean? This was an under game, and we got unlucky. 5 turnovers, and it goes over by 4.5 is just bad luck.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other news in the NFL, we just mentioned it. Bryce Young likely out here against the Buffalo Bills. So it's going to be Andy Dalton against the Buffalo Bills. And looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, the market obviously adjusting with the quarterback uncertainty or the possibility of it being Andy Dalton. Bills are 7.5-point road favorites at the Panthers. I would imagine once it's, I mean, like it feels like that line's going to go up, right?
It's gone up, and I think. I mean, is it official? I see him as doubtful, but you're saying he's officially out?
Yeah, there's a lot that's he's expected to be out.
Right. It seems. I mean, I've never heard of a doubtful guy actually playing, or rarely.
It's a high ankle sprain, and we know with the high ankles, like it could be multiple weeks. But but they're saying
it moved from 7 to 7.5. I think when it's official, it might move to 8. So if you like the Bills, I would bet it now, and I tend to like the Bills. But I've been burned by the Bills 2 weeks in a row. I like them Sunday Night Football against the Falcons. I like them the week before against the Patriots. I don't know what I'm missing with the Bills. They're just not that good, apparently.
Although it feels like this is a good spot, coming off of the loss and then off of the bye.
I love a road favorite off a bye. It makes a lot of sense. A business trip. Let's get it done.
Road favorite off a bye, off a loss.
Yeah,
it feels like this is a hammer spot here for the Buffalo Bills. The other interesting line that we're paying attention to here is between the Baltimore Ravens, Mackenzie, and the Chicago Bears. Ravens are 6.5-point favorites now up on FanDuel over the Bears, and it is because Lamar Jackson is still not practicing. All reports from before the bye week said that Lamar was expected to be back here after the bye, but yesterday was Monday's practice, and he still is not practicing, which makes it seem like it's iffy that he's going to play here this weekend against the Bears.
Man, the line. If I knew that he was not playing, wouldn't that be the bet of the year? I mean, it would definitely be a bet. Bears plus 6.5 with, I guess it'd be Huntley. It wouldn't be Rush.
Yeah, well, yeah. Would they? I mean, they did replace Huntley with Rush
for like two quarters.
Replace Rush with Huntley in the last game.
Yeah, I would love the Bears in that spot. And I don't like the Bears in general. I thought they got pretty lucky during this win streak. But it seems like they are a very Lamar Jackson heavily dependent team.
I know, boy, what an interesting.
So I think he ends up playing. The fact that the line's still up there and it didn't move much, he must end up playing.
I think he plays. I mean, yeah, I think
even if he does, I don't know if I like the Ravens.
The other quarterback injury is Jaden Daniels, who did not suffer any significant damage to his right hamstring. That's what the MRI revealed yesterday. However, the status for him playing against the Kansas City Chiefs for this upcoming game is still uncertain, and currently up on FanDuel, the Chiefs a 10.5-point favorite on Monday night against the Commanders.
Does Marcus Mariota have one more moment in the spotlight?
Not against
cover 10.5 on primetime? No, you don't think so?
Not against the Chiefs team that's they're becoming full strength right now.
They had their best offensive performance of the season by EPA against the Jaguars in a loss, but we didn't think about it because they lost. They had that pick 6. Then they had a better performance than that against the Lions. Then they had a better performance than that against the Raiders. So the trend line is in the right direction for Chiefs fans.
Yes.
It's the new Super Bowl favorites.
Rightfully so. All right, that'll wrap up the NFL conversation. Just a heads up, the Trench Report for week number 8 will be out coming up tomorrow, as it is each and every Wednesday, up on betterday.com. So tomorrow on the pod, we will discuss the outcome of the Week 8 Trench Report. So looking forward to that. Last night, Mackenzie, Major League Baseball, Game 7 of the American League Championship Series goes to the Toronto Blue Jays as George Springer's 3-run home run in the bottom of the 7th propelled the Jays to a 4-3 victory, and they go to the World Series for the first time since 1993. I did bet the Mariners last night. I thought that they had the edge in pitching. I thought they had the edge overall, and the market was telling us that they were the right side because, as you and I detailed on yesterday's show, we looked at the hypothetical odds that were already available on FanDuel, and they actually had the Blue Jays as a heavier dog to the Dodgers than the Mariners, right?
Right.
Well, Mariners had a 3-1 lead going into the 7th inning, and you're thinking, hey, this is the Blue Jays can't muster up any offense. This feels like it's inevitable here that the Mariners are going to finish this thing off. Brian Wu is in the game for Seattle. Brian Wu came in relief, and this is like this was the ace up your sleeve, right? Is to have Brian Wu available, and Wu goes 2 1/3 innings last night, but he gets taken out of the game because hey, it's the point where you're going to start to go for your bullpen guys, right? This is the issue. I'm not gonna like put this on, the Mariners, and I'm not gonna say that.
Sounds like you are. It sounds like you're going after the manager right now.
No. I'm not gonna put this. I'm not gonna put this on Dan Wilson, but I think it's overall a problem in Major League Baseball. Okay, the idea of a closer is an outdated idea, Mackenzie. The game is not always on the line in the 9th inning. Okay? And so managers need to stop calling them closers. And they need to start referring to them as relief aces.
Yep.
And when the game is on the line, you need to go to your relief ace. It doesn't matter if it's the 7th inning, the 8th inning, or the 9th inning. You figure out the 9th inning when you get to the 9th inning. But at that moment, with George Springer up, and like I know that like you're thinking about the plans, you're thinking about the matchups, you're thinking about the numbers, you got all the data in front of you. This guy does this off this pitch, off this pitch, whatever. But it's a 3-1 game. The game is on the line here with 1 out. I got to bring in my relief ace. Andres Munoz has to be in the game here for me. I'm sorry. I'm not saving him for a hypothetical situation in the 9th inning that just might not happen. Like, what if the Mariners, like, what if you bring Munoz in the 7th inning there? What if the Mariners score 4 runs in the top of the 8th, right? And then all of a sudden it's not a save situation in the 9th or whatever. Like, there's so many variables that could happen after that moment. But you cannot tell me that a hypothetical situation in the 9th inning that may or may not come up was a bigger moment in the game than where you were right then and there. That the game was on the line with George Springer up in a 3-1 ball game with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. That is when you bring your best arm out of the bullpen. Stop calling him a closer. You call him a relief ace. Munoz should have been in the game to face George Springer.
It's a great point. And I think it's at the heart of analytics where we never want to lose early. Like people like, oh, I don't want to go for 2 now because if I miss it, I know the game's over. Well, if you miss your 2-point conversion and you need a 2-point conversion, guess what? The game's over. It doesn't matter when it happens. It doesn't matter if your closer is not going to be able to get it done in the 7th or the 9th. He might not, like you said, he might not matter in the 9th. He didn't hear because you're trailing. You know this is going to be the highest leverage moment so far in the game. And it was 2 bases on, 1 out. What do you think about the bunt there? I was going to text you. I thought that was a bad idea.
I hate bunting. I hate it.
Just wasting it out there, but it worked out for him.
I know. Doesn't matter. I mean, listen, the next guy hit a home run, so it's not. It didn't work.
That worked out. Yeah.
Like if a guy hit a sacrifice fly, the next batter, then you could say, hey, it worked out. We got 1 run across. I just think like I hate giving up outs, right? I hate letting the opposing pitcher off the hook. Like, when you have a team up against the ropes and you have 2 guys on with nobody out, like take your chances to have a big inning. You're more likely, and the run expectancy matrix tells you this. I know we've talked about this before, but for those sabermetric and analytics nerds that can look this up, like you are more likely to score multiple runs
which you need being down 2.
Exactly. If you don't bunt. Now, if you're, yes, and we argued this with the Phillies situation against the Dodgers. Yes, you are more likely to score 1 run if you bunt there, but you are more likely to score multiple runs if you don't. And so, like, when we argued with the Phillies chance, it was like, hey, like, yeah, you're more likely to tie the game, but you're less likely to win the game, right? And that's the old analytics decision that we talk about in football all the time, right? It's you go for 2 because your winning percentage goes up, right? Like, it's all about the win percentage, not the tie percentage. It's the winning percentage.
Exactly.
I don't want to give up outs. I think you take your shot there swinging. So it did work out for them. But I think that Dan Wilson should have gone to Munoz because I think it's an outdated notion here in baseball that you save a guy for the ninth inning. Like, oh, he's the closer, so he only pitches in the ninth inning with a 3-run lead. Like, do you know how many pitchers in Major League? I know it's the hardest 3 outs to get. I get it. But you're a Major League Baseball pitcher. You can't get 3 outs without giving up 3 runs. I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm just talking about like in general over the course of a regular season, right?
The hardest 3 outs is when you have 2 people on base and nobody out. Those are the hardest 3 outs.
It's game freaking 7, man. Bring your closer in. Bring in your best pitcher. Like Munoz has to be in there to face Springer.
Randy Johnson came in Game 7 of 2001 World Series.
Oh my goodness!
When you needed him, 7th inning, 8th inning, he's out there.
What a
got
moment.
the win.
What a moment, though. By the way, I mean that was epic. That was like watching that Jose Bautista home run in the postseason. Yeah. That was
That's like my first baseball memory. That's like what the Fall Classic is in my mind.
What that? That's not that
the
long
whole 2001, ago. The whole 2001 series.
But like
with the blooper.
I mean, like, you're talking about that. You're talking about the different moment.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Blue Jays moments here. And then I mean Gary Carter-esque, right? World Series homer, walk off. I mean, this was just what a massive hit. But Springer does not win the ALCS MVP. That goes to Vladdy. He wins the ALCS MVP, and so now World Series.
He had a 930 slugging. He deserves whatever award you want to give him.
Now the World Series is set, Mackenzie, and I had somebody tell me last night that the Blue Jays were the obvious bet because it's fixed, right? It's fixed for the television market.
It's not fixed for Nielsen ratings where they don't literally count if they're from Canada. But okay, go ahead.
But the person told me, and I'm not going to say their name, because
you wouldn't want to embarrass them with this ridiculous thing.
I'm not going to embarrass them because it is somebody that you can probably find on social media. So I'm not going to say their name.
And you should ridicule them, but you won't.
Yeah, we should ridicule them. I should actually blow up their spot. But their point to me was, because I told them I was on the Mariners last night, and it's like you should have bet the Blue Jays because Major League Baseball and Fox did not want 2 West Coast teams playing against each other in the World Series. They wanted 1 Eastern time team and 1 West time team so that they can do the schedule accordingly or whatever. And I was like,
interesting.
I'm like, okay, like, but I feel like travel's a lot easier going from Seattle to LA than going across the border and dealing with customs.
Interesting conspiracy theory. I mean, obviously it worked out with Yankees in New York. Dodgers last year. That's how what you would want.
But it's like, don't you think, like, isn't it a hassle to go through customs all the time and deal with the back and forth? Like,
I just think they wouldn't want, if they had their drudgers, they would be like, no, we do not want a Canadian team. In our World Series,
right? I mean, do you think Canada wants it? You think Canada wants the Florida Panthers to win the Stanley Cup every year? No,
right? Exactly, same thing. We would choose not.
Yeah, choose not to. Wow. Speaking of hockey, we might as well give the World Series odds. So here are your odds, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook for Game 1, which will be on Friday. The Dodgers at the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers are a minus 148 favorite in game number 1. So a minus 148 favorite up on FanDuel for game number 1. Overall, the odds in the series, the Dodgers are minus 220 to beat the Blue Jays. Let's see, total games, Mackenzie, over 5.5 is actually minus 162. Do you think this goes? I got to be honest. Give me the plus 136 odds on under 5.5. I think the Dodgers can sweep or win in 4. I
do too. I wonder if
sweep or win in 5. I'm sorry.
Can you bet minus 1.5 just to cut out the middleman?
You want to do a spread? Yeah, you can do a spread. Minus 1.5 for the Dodgers is minus 116.
Man, that seems like a steal. I like the Dodgers here. I mean, maybe I'm being square, but I feel like they have like 4 aces.
I know.
Like, it's not like you get any relief.
Yeah.
And they're all well rested.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said weeks or so ago, it feels like the Dodgers are just inevitable. It really does. Okay, let's talk some hockey real quick before we get into the start of the NBA season.
It
Last
really
night,
is the equinox, huh? It's all
yeah,
here.
we're here. It's great. Last night, Jack Eichel continued to be the gift that keeps on giving. Now, what am I talking about? Well, playing Jack Eichel to go over his shots on goal prop has cashed in every single game he has played this season. The Knights are 5-0-2, by the way. Okay, and we know they never lose at home.
Never lost.
3-0-1 on home ice. Well, that one would be those two are two overtime losses. The one loss is an overtime or shootout loss, so we get that. But they don't lose in regulation. Our Knights don't lose in regulation. Anyway,
Never lost.
Jack Eichel with 4 shots on goal last night goes easily over his 2.5, and there's going to be the books are going to start to put 3.5s up on Eichel. Okay, it's going to happen. The 2.5s are already minus 175, and I'm willing to lay it. With the 4 shots on goal last night for Jack Eichel, here's his game logs: 4, 3, 9, 7, 3, 3, 5. He has gone over 2.5 in every single game that he has played this season. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if I just did one of those like ladder challenges, if I said, hey, I'm gonna do the $10 to $10K ladder challenge and just keep letting it ride, and just
You
roll
have about
over.
2K right now.
Exactly.
You'd be
No,
a couple wins away.
We'd be on game 8. What are you talking about? We'd be. It's 10. You have to win 10 straight, right? Well,
Yeah, so you'd have 2K, and then that'd become 4K, and then that'd become 8K, or whatever it is.
yeah. We just have to do 8, 9, and 10. Like, yeah, we're almost there. Like, it's unbelievable. 7 straight games. It's great. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It really is. What did you call it off the air? When I told you about the possible ladder, you called it the Eichel Tower.
Yeah, nice. I almost forgot about that.
It's a great
Glad
nickname.
we did not leave that on the cutting room floor, the Eichel Tower.
It's a great nickname. And we also
3 games ago.
We also, Mackenzie, had a finally, the New York Rangers scored a goal on home ice
In the first
regular
period,
season.
no less.
Yes. They lose to the Wild 3-1 last night, but the Rangers did score at home at Madison Square Garden. The first period does go over. It was a 1-1 tie after the first period, but now they got the monkey off their back, right? They're good. They scored a goal on their home ice. Everybody's happy now.
They've played 4 games on their home ice. They've scored 1 goal.
They were shut out in 3 of them. It's amazing. Taking a look at the schedule for tonight, a lot of good games here in the NHL. Devils are at the Maple Leafs. That's a really good one there with Toronto, a short minus 120 favorite. You have another good matchup here coming up between the Avalanche and the Mammoth. Now, what's crazy is for some reason, Mackenzie, as great as Colorado has been over the past several years, they have always struggled with this then Phoenix team. It's one of those weird things. And now they're in Utah for the past couple of years here. But just looking at, I want to go since the start of the 2021 season, right? That's what we always like to do. And our trends or systems page, by the way, I did a preview of it yesterday. It looks pretty good. Just have to obviously build a couple of more trends on there, but looks pretty good. And what I explained at the top of that page is all the trends start in 2021, because I feel like that's where the sports world kind of hit the reset button, right? And we could talk about the NFL with the new schedule, but it's a good way to just go with a great starting point, right?
We would all agree that the statistics during the 2020 and most of the 2020, mostly the 2020-2021 season, the bleed over, are altered in some way. And before that, well, you're talking about a couple of years before all the current protocols were in place. So I think the 2021, especially as we are now in 2026 almost, is a great thing to look at for going forward.
Yeah, so that's the way that I did it. So anyway, since the start of the 2021 season, the Colorado Avalanche against the Phoenix Coyotes, 7-5 straight up. Now, why does that jump out to you, 7-5 straight up? Well, because if you were betting on them every time in those games, you're down almost $400. Because they're heavy favorites in all of these games, and yet they're only 7-5 against them, 3-9 on the puck line. against the Phoenix Coyotes. Now, if we go to the Utah team, right, over the past, just last year, they were 2-1 against Utah last year. And so, again, you were negative because they were heavily favored in all of those games. And they did play the Mammoth one time this year, and they did win that game. So, a win against the Mammoth earlier this year, but did not cover the puck line. It was a 2-1 win for the Avalanche. So, it's just one of those things. This organization just seems to have their number. And with Colorado being a heavy favorite against everybody, just for some reason, the Phoenix team and now Utah has done well against them. So I might be interested in the Mammoth here, who are 3-0 at home. The Avalanche are 3-0 on the road. So something's got to give.
Something's got to give, right?
Something's got to give here tonight. And a couple other games worth noting. Oilers are at the Senators, an all-Canadian affair there. Edmonton, a -135 road favorite. You got the Panthers at the Bruins, and this is a big one because this is the return of Brad Marchand. So Brad Marchand making his return to TD Garden. So it's gonna be fun for him back in Boston for this game. So we'll pay attention to a lot of stuff on the ice coming up tonight, but also it is the official start of the NBA extended preseason. Let's get to that. Well, that's right. You heard me correctly. The NBA extended preseason starts tonight. Now, I make jokes because I'm one of those people, Mackenzie, that believes the NBA doesn't start until Christmas, and everything before Christmas is just an extended preseason. But tonight, the games count. They count in the standings. So, yes, I can concede that tonight is the start of the NBA regular season. We have a doubleheader on NBC/Peacock. So, as Mac said yesterday, we will get the round ball rock music back here for the NBA on NBC. And here is your doubleheader. The Houston Rockets take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The defending NBA champs are a 7-point favorite up on FanDuel right now with a total of 227.5. And then your late game, the Golden State Warriors at the Los Angeles Lakers, where the Warriors are a 2-point favorite with a total of 225.5. No LeBron James in that game for the Los Angeles Lakers as he's been dealing with his injury. How long is LeBron expected to be out, Mac?
Mid-November is the projection.
So he's taken more of an extended preseason here.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's start with the first game. And for those of you who aren't aware, which if you aren't, I mean, what have you been doing over the past couple of years? Mackenzie Rivers, one of the top NBA handicappers around, hitting at 56, 57% for the past 4 seasons consistently. So we love the fact that we're going to get some insights here all NBA season from Mac. So you guys want to pay attention. Let your ears perk up a little bit when this dude talks about ball. So let's start with the first game here, Mac, and you got the Rockets at the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. It feels to me like I don't want to fade a team on the banner-raising night. Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, it's been historically not a good idea to fade those teams. 9-6 on the home team, defending champions playing on Tuesday with an ATS margin. That's ATS, by the way, 9-6. ATS margin of +4. And I make this game 7.5 with both teams fully healthy. But not unlike most media members, you mentioned LeBron James being out for this Tuesday doubleheader. Well, I have LeBron James currently, I'll get some pushback, but it's where I have him, as the 17th best player in the NBA. He's actually tied. He's tied with Evan Mobley, and he's tied with Jalen Williams. And Williams is not going to be out there for the Thunder. And I think that's kind of underappreciated in the market, and I think 2 points of value should have been taken away. However, like you said, I don't want to bet against the home team with the cohesion on banner-raising night versus a team in the Thunder who are starting Kevin Durant at shooting guard. You heard me correctly. A 6'11", 7-foot shooting guard, and they're playing another power forward-like player in Amen Thompson at point guard. They're doing something very experimental. It might work, but I think it also might start off kind of slow as they figure out their new team.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, looking at the total here, and whenever we have a team that has a bunch of new pieces coming together, I tend to think that it might struggle offensively. to start the season. So, like, how does Kevin Durant fit in with this Rockets team? And you can only take so much away from the preseason. Like, now you're getting into regular season moments. Obviously, defensive intensity picks up. It's not playoff defensive intensity,
Right.
but for
It's
the
probably more intense than most NBA regular season games, though.
And I would say it's more intense this game than it's going to be in the next game. Like
I think so.
This is the home opener, your first game of the regular season, nationally televised. You got the banner raising. This is the game where you're going to have your defensive intensity. And then in the second game of the season, you're not going to have that defensive intensity. Maybe for the rest of the whole first month of the season, you're not going to have that defensive intensity until we start to get to those ABC Saturday, afternoon games or the Saturday primetime games, right? Because that's when these players like to show up is in the nationally televised games. So I would think that this could be a spot where I might want to be on a Rockets team total to go under.
You are cashing 60% unders. If all you did was first game of the season since 2021, I'm betting under. So makes a lot of sense that would be the case. I'm not sure if I'd go team total or just game total. 227.5 seems kind of like a lot.
The Rockets team total is 110.5. Boy, I mean, we know the Thunder are capable of scoring like 130,
What's interesting is where are they going to get their points from? Kevin Durant is set up at over under 23.5, which shocked me that it was so low. He averaged 26.5 last year, but I feel like when they're giving you something that's that appetizing, like you obviously should bet over, they're seeing that he's maybe not going to play that many minutes, or maybe he's going to start out being more of a distributor. It's a stay away for me. I would look at the under of the four sides.
Okay, I think that's going to be I'm going to be on the under, and I might do something with the Rockets team total to go under, but I am going to be on the game under as well. They're both correlated, obviously. All right, the second game in the nightcap, the Warriors at the Lakers. Golden State a 2-point favorite, total of 225.5. Mac.
I like the Warriors here. The only problem is I had all summer to bet it when it was Warriors plus 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Then LeBron was announced out. It moved to Warriors plus 1.5 you could get. And then not even like with a big move, just kind of slowly, half point at a time, point at a time. It's moved all the way to Warriors at 2.5. But the more I look at it, each team is defined by their second half of the season. The Warriors get Jimmy Butler. I think they're 23-7 with him in the regular season or something like that. 23-4 with all of their guys, including Jimmy Butler. And the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic, and they had a run between like mid-January and beginning of March where they were the best defense in the league. And you hear all these podcasters talking about it, how they need to get back to that. But if you just branch it out, if you just say from the time they got Luka till April 5th, before the very end of the season where we throw some of that stats out, how were they? They were the 14th best defense, the 15th best team, pretty much right in line with where they were before Luka and over the course of the whole season. I know they were the third seed. I think they got lucky in some close games. You look at their per game or per minute stats, they just weren't that good. So I think they're kind of an average-ish team. I think the Warriors are 2 points better. I have LeBron being worth about 3.5 points. So with Warriors being better, with LeBron being out, the line is about right, but I think I'm going to land on the Warriors here because I don't think the Lakers are a particular home court advantage here. The Warriors, it can be a wine and cheese type crowd. All the stars are going to be there. The Warriors, kind of like when a lot of teams do well in Madison Square Garden. A lot of stars shine in Madison Square Garden. Same thing's true with L.A. I feel like this is going to feel like a second home court for them. This is going to be something more like a neutral. And if it's a neutral, I would have the Warriors by 4 here. So I think I'm going to end up playing something on the Warriors, whether it be laying the 2 before it gets to 2.5, or maybe even on the money line.
Any thoughts on Luka going over his points prop? He's at 30.5, which is a massive number here, but we kind of have seen, like, without LeBron James, this is just, it's all Luka.
When he last had a team to himself, he was averaging 31 points per game, 9 rebounds and 9 assists. He's felt now. He's in shape now. He should be better now regardless as he gets to the 27-28 season. So that number came out kind of low. I think without LeBron, it's going to be a little bit of substitute teacher effect, like what can I get away with?
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be bombing away. I would look at his over. Another prop that I'm interested in is Jimmy Butler under. He only averaged about this with his time with the Warriors, but in wins, and I do think the Warriors win here, He only averaged 16 points per game. He wants to be more of a distributor on this team. And the Lakers have a lot of size. They really don't have a lot of places where Jimmy Butler can attack. Like, Luka's not a great defender versus a fast guy. Versus a strong guy, he can stand up there with most of them. So can Hachimura, so can Vanderbilt. So last time Jimmy Butler played the Lakers, he scored 11 points, even though the Warriors won. I think under 18.5 is a good look for the debut of Jimmy Butler this season.
Okay. Taking a step back and looking at a macro level, the Thunder are an overwhelming favorite to repeat as NBA champions at plus 200 up on FanDuel right now. The Nuggets, the second favorite at plus 650, which is a massive change from what we saw earlier in the offseason.
They're 20-1 to start the offseason for some reason.
Yep. The Cavaliers are next at plus 700, and then the New York Knicks at 12-1. Clippers at 17-1 would be next. Your awards market, Shea is the favorite to repeat as MVP at plus 160. Jokic at plus 300. The svelte Luka Doncic at plus 400. And Victor Wembanyama plus 1,000. Any interest in the futures market?
Yes, I think the Clippers in Shop Around, I've seen them as high as 28-1. FanDuel right now 17-1. But I have the Clippers as my third best team entering the season today at 5.5 points better than an average team. Only the Cavs are better. Only the Thunder are better. And you might say, how are the Clippers the best team? Everyone's been talking about the Nuggets. The Nuggets have to be the better team. Well, the last time the Clippers played an NBA game, they were road favorites, at least the start of that betting cycle, at Denver. So they were considered significantly better than the Nuggets. I know they lost that game. I know they lost that series. We may downgrade from that. I don't know. Pretty much within the realm of possibility, within the margin of error. I pretty much kept them the same. Kawhi's healthy to start the season. I think they are underrated as the 10th best team. I think they're more like probably the 4th best team. Right now, the 3rd best team, but potential-wise, obviously injuries going to be a big risk for them. But I think there's some value at 28-1.
Yeah.
Also, 7-1 to make the Final Four might be best because Kawhi's going to have his playoff injury. Hopefully you can get to the Final Four and catch your 7-1 before that happens.
Great point. He's Mackenzie Rivers. Make sure you follow him at Mackin Rivers, one of the best when it comes to handicapping the NBA. We'll get constant NBA insights from Mackenzie here on the pod, and we'll put the picks up as well up on betterday.com. I'm going to go with the unders, I think, in that first game for sure. I'm going to go with the under total for the game between the Rockets and the Thunder. I'm going to go Rockets team total to go under. I like your angle on Jimmy Butler to go under his points prop in that second game. And then what would you do the Luka over, or is there or you like the Jimmy Butler prop?
I would take the Warriors. I think Luka might go over because in a loss he'll be firing, but I think the better bet is just the Warriors laying the 2 points. All
right, so we'll lay the 2 points here with the Warriors, and we're going to go with Jimmy Butler to go under his points prop as well, which is sitting at 18.5 points. Now down to 17.5 up.
Damn it, they're listening to the show.
No,
try to get that 18.5 minus 120 if you can get it.
Yes, shop around for the best number. You can hit me up on Twitter as well, at Scott's On Air. Once again, the Week 8 NFL Trench Report will be out coming up tomorrow, so we'll go over that on tomorrow's pod and hopefully recap some NBA winners with the extended preseason here. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.